Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the third and latest edition in the Empty Seat Show with me, Doom, and my ginger sidekick, Mr. Gloom, over there. So, how are you, Mr. Gloom?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. A little bit late again. All right, how are you?
I am not late. I had hearing issues. I had technical difficulties at the beginning. That was why. So I do apologize for being 2 minutes late.
Did your lighter run out?
You know, it's like being with a kid with this guy. Right. So, Chris, who have we got on tonight, buddy?
Okay, so tonight's guest used to live in Queen Street off Ashton New Road, which is right where the City Academy is now located. He left these shores with his family as one of the £100 Poms as a 19-year-old lad, and he's currently the secretary of the Melbourne branch of the Manchester City Official Supporters Club.
So, yeah, should we see who it is, guys? You meant to say yes there, Craig. You know.
Oh, sorry.
It's not like a finalist or anything, you know.
Yes.
Do you know, we're going to end up on the radio, me and you, as Doom and Gloom show or something in the morning. Yeah, because you've certainly got a face for radio. Should we bring him in?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, guys in the comments, please give a warm welcome to the chairman of the Melbourne City Supporters Branch, Mr. Steve Bardsley.
Hello, thank
you. How are you, buddy?
Thank you. Great introduction. Just let me put you right there. I'm actually the General Secretary of the Melbourne branch of the Supporters Club. Yeah. I don't want our chairman getting all upset thinking I'm taking his job.
Well, if you didn't know, obviously, Steve is very, as you know, big friends, and unfortunately has to work with Alan, who comes on the channel. I don't know how you put up with it, Steve. I really don't.
Look, it's very difficult. He phones me 5 times a day, or at least, and
We know that.
Oh, my wife sees the phone and says it's him again. But look, he's a lovely lad. He's a very passionate City supporter, as you know. In fact, I don't think I've really met anyone quite as passionate as Alan. And he told me, he said, football is a way of life. And he thinks about Manchester City, not every day, not every hour, but I think every minute. So there you go. That's loyalty for you.
He's still a fake fan. Don't worry, I got him back. I rang him up at 5 a.m. once.
Well, that's nothing because, you know, because here in Melbourne, in Australia, we get up at ridiculous times to watch the games. We watch all the games live together as a supporters club, or we did before we were locked down with, you know, this COVID-19 restrictions. And so we're in the Imperial in the pub at sometimes 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. The Champions League games are not bad. Usually they're kicking off about 7 a.m. But it's nothing for us to be in the pub at 4 o'clock, you know, watching all the Deros go past the pub. Looking in, what are those idiots doing in there at this time? You know, cheering, you know.
Exactly. Well, let's get in some hellos. Blue Heart, welcome, Steve. Alexander Griffin says, "Old Steve, haha." Do you know Alexander Griffin, Steve? I'm presuming you do with that.
I do know Alexander Griffin. Yes.
Ocean Rage, welcome. Zagon West, welcome, Steve.
Alexander Griffin's in our supporters club, so he's up early.
He is up early. Yeah. Sean Fogarty, big welcome to Steve. Chris Linley, hi, Steve. It's everyone just wishing you, saying a big hello to you, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. You made it worth getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Good. And Adair says, now that is how you do a background. Chris and Martin should take note. And I've got to say, that is some background, that, Steve.
Yeah, that is a nice background. It's a shame you can't see the rest of the room. I've got 3 more shirts on the other side. And I've got two in my garage, a large Colin Bell in the garage. I've got a David Silva signed football boot. I've got all sorts of memorabilia. I've been collecting it for many years. So
I'm not allowed memorabilia on my wall.
Well, you know, I'm trying to get the memorabilia into the living room because I've run out of space, but the wife's putting up a little bit of resistance.
Yeah, well, I've got my wife won't even let me have it anywhere in the house.
What's that, Martin?
I'm not allowed to have any memorabilia up in
memorabilia. All right, okay.
First remind you.
So,
first remind. We're not even past the watershed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all right. I'll start talking in 20 minutes then, mate. So, Steve.
Yep.
What was your first game that you went to?
First game, this is very interesting. It was in 1966, and it was an FA Cup third round replay at Main Road City versus Blackpool. And in fact, there'd been a 1-1 draw on a Saturday, and in those days they played the replays on the Monday night. So, you know, when the players sort of complain about too many games nowadays, you know, there's a lot of games back then. And Monday night, January, wet, cold, and how many people do you think turned up to watch that game? City were in the second division, by the way. Blackpool were first division. You know, with the Mercer Allison era had, you know, not really started yet. And I'll tell you, we got 53,000 fans to that game. Now at the 1-1 game at Blackpool on the Saturday, they've got about 26,000. And I don't think anybody really expected there to be 53,000 there. And I went with my brother, and I was 11, he was 9, and 2 buses to get to Main Road from Droylsden. And oh boy, you know, what a night. It was just so crowded, so packed. We always watched in the Kippax. And this is our first time there, and we didn't have enough money to get in, so my brother crawled in at the turnstile through at my feet, and we got 2 in for the price of 1. And it was 2 shillings and 6pence to get in. And we got in the ground. We bought a programme, and it was 6pence. And I still have that programme here from that game. So yeah, so that's sort of very, very, very precious. And I do remember going up the steep steps at the back of the Kippax, and then when we looked onto the ground, you know, with the floodlights shining on the grass, it would just look fantastic. Main Road was an incredible ground. It held in those days before you know, swales ruined the place. It held about, I think, 85,000. It was a big ground. And yeah, and then of course we went and got ourselves a cup of Bovril and a wagon wheel, and shared that, and watched the game. And it was a great game. And City weren't the favourites because Blackpool were first division, City second division, and we won the game 3-1. So we went through. Which was fantastic, and we went all the way through as a second division club to the quarter-finals that year when we lost to Everton in a replay, and then Everton went on, of course, and won the FA Cup that year. So it was a great performance in the FA Cup that year from City, and an amazing first game for us. Yeah. Versus what we call then. We used to nickname Blackpool the Donkey Lashes. So, so that was a first game. Yeah.
Sorry, we
Still
just
there?
After that, of course, we all.
So,
Steve, 1 minute. We're just having a little bit of technical difficulty at the moment on this. Can you just... He's just muted himself. Let me just unmute. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just going to unmute his mic. How do I say? Where's Alan? Alan's... hang on.
talks amongst yourselves now. Martin, what are you doing?
Oh, you can tell this is live. Right, Alan is just on the phone to Steve, getting him to he's never used StreamYard. We have gone through it with him, but obviously some people technical difficulties. I do apologise. Let me just knock that off. I don't know what that was about. Let me see if I can get hold of Alan.
Yeah, okay, how's that?
Yeah, that's back. You're back now, Steve.
Right, okay. Thanks, Alan. He's my biggest fan. He's the only fan.
When you're live, this was meant to happen, so I do apologise.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So where did we get to?
Donkey lashes.
We were talking about the donkey lashes. Wait a minute. Yes, mate?
You still got your mute on.
No, I haven't. The mute's off and the guys can hear me.
Can't hear you. No one can hear you.
Alan said that nobody can hear me.
We can hear you and tell Alan we're live at the minute, please.
Can't hear you.
We can hear you, Steve.
We can hear you. Carry on.
Well, do you think everyone else can hear us? Alan can't.
Yeah.
Go.
They can. Okay, yeah. Well, so that was it. So that was the first game, and 53,000 fans on a cold winter's night, and it's surprising that City can't get those type of numbers now at the Champions League game. With all the success we've had, amazing.
It is.
We didn't have, by the way, Colin Bell or Francis Lee at that stage. We signed Colin Bell at the beginning of that season. He didn't play in that game, and of course, look, what we didn't know what was going to come that year. We would win promotion and First Division, and then it all started from there. We signed Francis Lee and Colin Bell, and the season after that, of course, we even won the title unexpectedly. So it was a great era. It was a fantastic era.
Yeah, it was.
But I'll tell you what, I never was going to realise how long it was going to take to repeat that era.
Absolutely, yeah.
76, and we had to wait over 40 bloody years.
Yeah, absolutely. Who was your childhood hero then?
Colin Bell, by far, because he was just an amazing player, and what a playmaker, what an athlete, and just a joy to watch. But there was Bell, Lee, and Summerby. They all talk about that era, but there's one guy we miss out, and that was Neil Young, because he was actually one of my favourite players as well, and. Nelly, as we used to call him, he'd always score that goal at the critical time when you needed it. So we had just, what a fantastic team that was. Bell, Lee, Summerby, Young, and then great players. Look at midfield. We had Alan Oakes, what a tower of strength. Tony Book as the captain. And the story about Tony, how they had to change his birth certificate to. Make him look a couple of years younger to sign him up. No, it was a great era to be part of. And Colin Bell, marvellous. And you know the great thing about, and I think we miss that today. The players in those days, they weren't really like the superheroes that they are today. I remember Mike Summerby. He told me that he was on £75 a week, and that was 3 times the average working wage. And he got a pay rise to £100 a week, and he was over the moon. He was earning 4 times the average weekly wage. And you have a look at these guys now; they earn in 1 week 10 years' pay for the average guy.
So, if not more.
If not more, and you'd have to say that has gone ridiculous. So when you see the players today, and I do get back there a few times, you see them turning up in their Range Rovers and the smart cars. The relationship can't really be the same, can it? When with the working class as it used to be. In the 60s, when the difference just wasn't that much, and those players, they were fantastic. Colin Bell, Francis Lee, Mike Doyle, they'd all hang around, sign as many autographs as you want, talk with you. They didn't see themselves as anything really special. They were just footballers,
Yeah.
So it was a great year.
I'm just going to bring in a super chat from Alan. Thank you,
Alan.
Welcome to the Duke. Guys, if you have any questions, you can get them in the super chat as we're going along. Because on the Empty Seat Show, we haven't got a lot of time till near the end to go through a lot of your comments. So I do apologise about that. We will try and get through as many as we can.
Alan again.
To the end. Steve,
Alan.
Steve, I've got a question for you.
Yes, mate.
Obviously in Australia, what was it that, obviously you don't have to go into too much detail, obviously personal, but what made you leave Manchester to go to sunnier climates, shall we say?
It's quite simple. My father's brother emigrated to Australia 2 years before we left, and he kept writing letters, as it was aerograms in those days, telling my dad that we've got to get over here. It's a fantastic place, and my dad, this was of course in 1974, and things were still quite good in England, but you could tell that it was going to start to toughen up. And so my dad, for the sake, I had 3 brothers, and so for the sake of the family, my dad said, let's go. And I was 19 when we left, and that was quite a difficult time, for somebody to leave. But it was a great move, and it's the best thing we ever did. But I do miss Manchester, of course, and in particular City, and that's why a supporters club is such a good thing.
So, did you start the supporters club up in Melbourne, Steve?
We started the current official supporters club. There was a group of guys who had an Australia-wide supporters club in the 90s, and that sort of petered away. And I guess that was because City weren't very good in the 90s. And so Alan and I, so it's a long story. We used to meet in a pub in Melbourne called the Charles Dickens, and in 2010 the manager of the pub, he came to us and said, guys, I don't want you to turn up for the Manchester derby. He said, I've got the pub that will be full of United fans, so I don't really need you guys. There's not as many of you, and don't bother turning up because you won't get in. So we said, well, quite politely, I won't swear, but you can imagine the words, and we said, yeah, we won't be coming, and we'll never be coming back again. And we found then the Imperial Hotel, where we meet now, where we've been for 10 years. That was the big Liverpool pub, and the manager was a Liverpool fan, but he said, look, you can come and watch all the games here other than Liverpool versus City. So, but we even actually ended up watching those games there as well. And Alan and I just decided it was time to make it official, and we started an official branch. There were 12 of us at the time, and yeah, we started with 12 members, and it increased every year, and this year we'll have about 250.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's been fantastic. And the great thing about our supporters club is it's not just an expats club for, you know, ex-Manx who come to Melbourne. It's for anyone at all supports Manchester City. And we have plenty in a club now.
Yeah. We just, like I said, we are having technical difficulties with Steve this evening, so I do apologise. He just muted himself again.
How's that? Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
And we're back. Thank you.
I don't
It's
know
just
why that.
your connection keeps going every now and again. And
Yeah,
I think
yep, got it. Sorry, guys, I'm doing my best.
All right.
It's
No,
5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, guys, please remember that Steve has got up at 5:30 in the morning to come do this for you guys and us. So big thank you to Steve for this.
One of the other things about our supporters club place is we do it for charity. And over the last 5 years, we've actually raised over $25,000 for good causes, and we actually sent over about $9,500 to Manchester to help the Manchester Emergency Fund after the Manchester Arena bombing, and I think that was the biggest donation that the supporters club got from anywhere in the world.
Wow.
So.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
that's that's
Absolutely
really
amazing.
what we do. Yeah.
That's just, yeah, absolutely amazing. We have had another super chat from Blue Heart. I watched the documentary and Adam Goods. I might be saying that totally wrong. Chris will put me right.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
Is that right? Football, thank you. Have you ever been interested or been to a game of Aussie Rules football, Steve? Blue Heart wants
Well,
to know.
that's a great question, and the answer is yes. Now, I can tell you, Alan hates the game, but I absolutely love it. I'm a Richmond fan. The Richmond are known as the Tigers, and they're very similar in some way to Manchester City in they haven't won.
Just bear with us, guys. Like I said, I do apologise. It does keep. Listen, you know we're live. You know we're absolutely.
Yeah,
live.
how's that? We're back on again.
Yeah, we're back
Come on,
on
mate.
again.
Yep. That's my fault, by the way. That it just keeps popping up and automatically muting my my microphone.
you know,
so keep an eye on it. Yeah. So I'm a big Richmond Tigers supporter, and we're doing very well this season. And we may what we call in Australia win the flag, and that's like the trophy. So. Yeah, great game, Aussie Rules. Game of 4 quarters, 25 minutes per quarter. Very physical game. No armour, very tough. I've got to say, very exciting to watch. And some people can't understand it when it's actually more exciting to watch than Premier League sometimes, because they have a lot of goals scored and the game result can change very quickly.
I watched my first ever game about 2 weeks ago, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Well, I've got to tell you, the very first time when we came to Australia and they said the football was on, and me and my brothers, we sat down to watch it, and it was, of course, Aussie Rules, which we didn't expect. And we just had a good laugh at this game. You know, we thought, what the hell is this? Guys hammering each other, and but I came to love it. And I actually played football here, the round ball game, and some of the guys that I played with supported Richmond, and they took me to the games live, and that's how I became a Richmond fan. And I converted them to be City fans. How's that?
Fair play.
Yeah.
So do you manage to get over much back home to watch the games, or?
Yeah, look, I come over about at least every 2 or 3 years, and in the 80s and the 90s, I actually worked in Germany, and I used to fly into Manchester every Friday night, and every second Friday, and to go to the home games, and always used to be funny because. You know, when I was coming through the, you know, customs and everything, they'd say, "Oh, not you again." You know, they'd say, "Have you come here to work?" And I'd say, "Certainly not. I've come here to get pissed and watch Manchester City."
Oh, yeah.
But the last time I was in the UK was a couple of years ago, and I went to the Southampton game, and I was right behind the goals when Jesus floated that ball over, and I was watching it coming, and I thought that's going to go over the top. You know, it really looked from the back, from behind, it was going over, but of course it went in. And what a great moment to be part of that. And City became the Centurions. And
me and my wife was there. We were there that day.
Yeah. So that was fantastic to be part, you know, to be there for that game. And then of course we went to. The Brighton game, and when they had Yaya's send-off, which was a fantastic night at the Etihad as well, a big party. So we try and get back as often as we can, and we were all going to come over. We had a group of us coming for the Champions League, but of course that had to be abandoned. It says here, like and subscribe, folks. Yes, okay.
I'm just pointing out for everyone else to read. We have had another super chat. I am going to ask you, really, some people have asked this question, Steve, in the comments. Can you still hear it?
That's your microphone breaking up.
Yeah.
What are my predictions? Am I okay? Everyone can hear? Yep. Yeah. Predictions. Well, let's start. I think we will start with the first game of the season. Wolves. What a game that's going to be. They've had it over as they've become a bogey team. They beat us 3 times last season. Remember, because in the pre-season. What was it? The Premier League game on penalty. And then of course they beat us both home and away. They scored 5 goals against us in those games. In the last game, the away game, they had 62% of the possession of the game, and we did get a red card in that game. But you know, they beat us. So I think it's going to be a very tough season, this one, starting with that game, and we just can't afford, let's face it, to lose 9 games. Just can't do that. And if we don't win, I was very pleased to see the Rags, of course, lose. And we have a tradition in Melbourne that when City win and United lose, we all sing, City win, United lose song. And all the boys here right now have sent me messages saying, "Start warming up the fat lady." So. But I think it's going to be a very tough season. I'm watching the spending of clubs, and you have a look at what Chelsea are doing. They bought very smartly, wisely. That they're going to be, I suspect, a big threat. Arsenal, I think, will.
We will get Steve back. Just bear with us a moment. I think Noah Pearson put his Wi-Fi's buffering. It is.
Yeah. There you go, Steve. You're back, mate.
Back?
You're back. Yeah, you're back, mate.
Right. Yeah, good. Yeah, so tough season coming up. We're really going to have to do better. And I have to say, let's talk about some of the we spoke about Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal and buying players, and we've dragged our feet, haven't we? I mean, let's be fair. We've got to be critical of City in that regard. We've been bloody hopeless. The Lionel Messi thing, of course, slowed everything up, and I can understand they had to obviously look at the finances while that was going on. But you have a look at the Koulibaly situation. It's another massive distraction, and we just haven't nailed it down. Look at our left back situation. For me, we haven't had a good permanent left back for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And I know that we waited and we were very patient with Mendy and injuries and all the rest of it, but that's been a bad weakness for us, our defence, particularly I think on the left. We've known, of course, that Sergio Aguero wouldn't be playing every game of the season, and I think we need someone up front as well. We all know that we need a central midfielder. Look, we've signed a couple, but we'll see how they go. We've signed one of the players is a defender from basically a relegation club. So, how will he go at top level? I think it's been very disappointing this season, the signings, have to say, and hopefully, if this is another topic, if Pep Guardiola can agree to sign a 2 or 3 year contract, that's going to ease the situation and make players more comfortable in signing for City. We all know what happens with if a player signs with one manager and then that manager changes and suddenly he's out of favour. And have a look at, say, King Clancy with Joe Royle. These things happen, and we'll wait and see. But no, City have to do better. And the other thing, we've got to do better on the pitch. Losing 9 games, and we lost some shockers. And talking, how are we going to do this season? Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to have to do much better and take our chances, in particular in front of goal. We've got to stop those defensive howlers, which give games away. And we're paying some of these players £250,000, £300,000 a week, and they're missing shots, 4 feet away from the goal.
Yeah. I think last season was a lot of individual errors cost us games, didn't they?
And not on you. So we've got to do better. It's cost us games. I think Kevin De Bruyne's going to be excellent for us this season. Step up and be the captain. And as we know, he's a bad loser, and that's what we need. We just need, I think, just a more desperate attitude out on the pitch this season.
Well, I don't know if you've heard, Steve, Fernandinho has been named captain today, and Kevin De Bruyne the vice captain. Has that surprised you? Because I think that's come as a big shock to everyone. That I think everyone thought KDB was nailed on to be captain.
Well, I hadn't heard that, and as you know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. So but having heard that, it does surprise me. And Fernandinho is a fantastic player. He's been a brilliant servant for us. But I think I wouldn't have never expected him to be to even 2 seasons ago for people to say be captain now, because look, let's face it, he is at the end of his peak playing career. We're playing him out of position quite often, and that makes it awkward for him. And I would have rather seen KDB captain, but hey, there you go.
Well, apparently, don't the players have chosen this? Apparently, this is down to the players who've chosen Fernandinho as captain.
Yeah, maybe they're a little bit frightened of Kevin.
Well, hey, let's not forget though, David is captain, but I think there's a captain in the dressing room and a captain out on the pitch. I think there's 2 different. I think KDB will be the captain on the pitch. Because like you, I don't think Fernandinho will play a high number of games next year.
No.
Personally.
No.
Well, that leads me nicely to my next question. And this is honestly your opinion. How do you view Pep's future?
Look, Pep's future is in his own hands. I mean, he's recently, said that he would only want to renew a contract if he deserves it. And I think every single City fan in the world believes he deserves it. I mean, this is a guy who's, you know, won every single trophy that England had to offer. Nobody's ever done that, so he deserves it. There's that doesn't need qualifying. So he should just give us some certainty and sign up. But look, I do appreciate it is difficult in this world now with the COVID virus, and as we know, Pep's mother died of it, and you know, a lot of managers and players might be thinking, do they really want to commit to long periods overseas in you know, this uncertain environment? But Pep should just you know, sign up for at least 2 years, and you know, let's move on. And I think he will, nice. By the way. And we've met Pep Guardiola here in Australia. You know that?
Wow.
He actually came. He came. Pep. Yes, he came to Melbourne City, and of course we've got a City Football Club group here, Melbourne City, and he came and he actually spoke to the Junior Blues, and which was fantastic of him. He was actually on vacation. He wasn't on an official trip or anything like that. And I was fortunate enough to get invited to that meeting and I have to say, what a great guy. You know, no pretenses about Pep Guardiola. Just one of the boys turned up in a pair of old ripped jeans, and yeah, great guy.
Yeah. So you're expecting City to challenge us?
Go on, Chris. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, of course. I am expecting City to challenge, and I think we all are. But as we've already said, there's got to be a better attitude all over the pitch. That captain, you know, we have lacked a leader last season out on the pitch, and hopefully, well, you know, whoever they choose, but hopefully Kevin will give us that, and we just need more tenacity, because I think that's all we lacked last season, really. So we'll challenge,
I mean,
but
yeah,
but we've got to be careful now, because Liverpool, of course, you know, they're going to be there whether we like it or not. Chelsea, I think, will be a big threat this season. I think Tottenham will be better this season. I think it's going to be a harder season than it was last season.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I didn't see the Liverpool game today, but I saw a bit of Spurs, and they turned Southampton over quite easily, quite frightening at times. Well, Southampton's defending was frightening.
Yeah, but let's be honest, Spurs got beat last week, didn't they, by Everton?
Yeah.
He's Carlo.
It could be a very interesting season in the fact that with COVID around, you could have players, you know, having to take 14 days off at a time, so you might not get regular teams. Where Liverpool have had pretty much a steady 14 players, say, to pick from. You know, that might change this season. It could be a very interesting season in terms of that.
And they've had pre-season.
Definitely, it's going to be. Yeah. Now, Doom's Mike, is he crackling up there?
He's all right, I think.
Is all right? I got a little bit of crackling from Doom in the headphones.
Well, I get that all the time off him, mate.
That's just the static.
Yeah. He is my Alan, mate. He rings me 5 times a day.
Can we get back to
Yeah,
sorry,
John.
Martin. Sorry.
Is that better, mate? Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that is better. Yeah, that's better.
Steve, what some people have asked in the comments, how is Manchester City perceived abroad? Because what we have noticed is, and Alan mentioned this, obviously the Melbourne City, or what used to be Melbourne Hearts, got taken over by the CFG. Well, apparently that didn't go down too well, has it?
It hasn't gone down too well because, to be fair, Melbourne City haven't won anything. They won the FFA Cup once, and they've been disappointing. There has been. You've got to remember that when the City Football Group bought Melbourne Heart, that was a club that had a lot of supporters from all over. So they had a big bunch of Manchester United supporters, Liverpool supporters, all English Premier League supporters. So when Manchester City buy a club like that, it obviously alienates some of their existing fan base. And for example, I know all the United guys, and most of them stopped following Melbourne City, and there still is, obviously a core group of fans who still think that they're Melbourne Heart. They turn up in the red and white stripes, and they find it difficult to move forward or difficult to accept that the club is now part of the City Football Group. And we all have different opinions on how that should work. And I think, and I'm a big Melbourne City fan. I go to every game. I'm a season card holder. And what I think that it would have been better if Manchester City wouldn't have bought Melbourne Heart, if they would have just let Melbourne Heart go broke, which they would have, and then they should have started a new franchise of their own. But now we're sort of stuck with a Melbourne Heart mentality, and for us as City fans, that's very disappointing. But you've got to remember, we're just a very small part of the supporter base for Melbourne City. So it is an incredibly awkward situation. For example, they played in the final this year against Sydney, and we obviously lost the game. But they played in red and white, and that was a big disappointment to some of the fans. But of course, it was very exciting to the old school Melbourne Heart fans, and they thought it was fantastic. Where it goes from here, I don't know. But certainly, what Melbourne City have got to do is build their supporter base, and as they do that, and as the base gets bigger, that number of old core Melbourne Heart supporters will, of course, diminish as a percentage. And hopefully they can get on being Melbourne City.
So do they not go to games then a lot, or do they? I know you said they go in their old red and white stripes, but do they like boycott games, or is there like a lot of anger there with that?
They go to the games, and unfortunately, the games are very poorly attended. I'll give you an example. The stadium that we play in holds 35,000, but most of the games last season, home games, would have 5,000 people. And watching a game in a stadium that big with just 5,000 supporters, it's really not very good. It's not very exciting. And all the core supporters, what they call the active supporters, they hang behind obviously one of the goals and make a bit of noise. But that's the busiest part of the ground. And the game here, to be honest, football is in massive trouble. They have a Football Federation of Australia that are looking at things. We've got massive problems right now with the COVID. And the players' union here have refused to take a 30% pay cut for the players, and the Football League have said, well, unless you do that, there's no money. and we may not even play the games this season. That's quite a new thing which has just happened yesterday, and the owners of the Perth Football Club have said, if the players don't accept that 30% pay cut, they might not be fielding a team.
Wow.
So the game's in turmoil here at the moment. It's poorly supported, and you've got to remember that Melbourne is a sports-mad place. There's so much sport here. You've got obviously the Aussie rules football. You've got rugby, cricket. It's very hard for soccer to compete. And look, it's a story, for another day. But the way that football has been managed here by the Football Federation of Australia has been disappointing, and they really haven't taken the game to where it could have gone. I mean, for example, there are a lot of people in Australia, in Melbourne, that they'll follow a Premier League team, but they don't follow any Australian A-League team.
Wow.
And that's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So there's a big market there for the clubs to go after, but it's difficult right now. And this business of playing, games behind, with no crowds, it's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's dreadful.
I mean, I've got to say, we've not mentioned it because it has totally lost my mind. But absolute commiserations to Macclesfield Town. I mean, we lost Berry. We lost Berry last year, and we've now lost another local club in that town, which is just so sad. The Silkmen are no more, and it's just, trust me now, they will not be the last club to go due to COVID. They just won't. It won't happen, unfortunately. It's so sad.
They won't. I think even my little local club, Droylsden, I think went out of business. So look, it's tough times, and personally, for example, I don't think that the players here in Australia should be arguing about taking a 30% pay cut. The clubs have lost basically 75% of the revenue. They earn, even here, they earn quite good money. Nothing like Premier League football, but I think the minimum they can pay a player here is about $70,000, and I think the average pay that they're on that's a year. It's about $160,000 a year, but it's still a healthy salary. And if they would take a 30% pay cut, it would only actually work out, in the pay packet of about 15%, due to tax. And surely that's not too much to ask for the sake of the game.
Yeah.
No,
that's my viewpoint. The players won't agree.
No, I do understand that, but like you say, it's the future of the game, isn't it? And for clubs in England who are down the leagues, these are really, really challenging times. And as Martin said, Macclesfield probably won't be the last team to suffer because of it. It's really sad.
Look, there's a lot wrong with football right now, and I think we all, I certainly know that a big part of the problem with the clubs today, it's not just been through COVID, it's been something that has been coming for a long time, and it's been something that has, been coming since the Premier League was set up, because basically, that was a money grab, and it sucked the money out from a lot of the money from the grassroots football level, and you've got to put that back in, and there will need to be changes, I think, made, because like you say, there's going to be so many football clubs that will go to the wall, and we're not just talking clubs like Macclesfield, we're talking about championship teams, even some Premier League teams.
Yeah. I mean, we have got a super chat from Ruby Toll, who's an absolute gentleman in a state, just to say thank you, Steve. for getting up so early and allowing me to really enjoy the chat. Thank you, Steve.
Well, thank you, Rubito. Much appreciated. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. It's great being a Manchester City fan in Australia, and I'd just like to say that everybody's listening and they ever want to come to Melbourne to watch a game, and we do get quite a few people. Obviously not this year, but in the past we have quite a few people from the UK. They come to Melbourne, and we really welcome them to come and watch the games with us at the Imperial. And we show them a lot of hospitality. We have a deal where if anybody comes to Melbourne, we get them free tickets to a Melbourne City game. That's courtesy of Melbourne City, so they can come and also watch Melbourne City play with us and enjoy some of our fantastic local football, as well as watching City at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I don't think I could watch City at 4 in the morning. I love it. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, it's great. I mean, there's nothing like watching City at 4 o'clock in the morning with a pint of beer. I mean, what else would you do?
Do they get a free digs at Alan's house as well?
No, we don't. Actually, that he has actually put some people up, and I remember that one time we went to watch one of the Champions League's games. It was about 3:30 in the morning, and the guy who was supposed to open up the Imperial had fallen asleep. He didn't wake up, and we're all outside the Imperial. It was with the Bayern fans, and we couldn't watch the game, so everybody went back to Alan's place. And we all squeezed in there, and he's only 10 minutes away, and we all watched the game.
Brilliant.
Tell you what, I got really
so there you go.
Chris said digs at Alan. I thought we were going to punch him. I got really excited. I'm only joking. I'm only joking, Alan.
You don't hit a man with glasses.
He can take them off.
They're only reading glasses. you can hit him when he's not reading.
Oh, bless him.
Steve, I will go with Alan has sent me one of these today. Sent me a lovely poster about Manchester City. So that is going up. That will be going up on my wall at some point.
Fantastic. Now, I just want to say something that guys, we're having, for anybody watching, we're having a raffle in support of Citizens Giving. The Citizens Giving for COVID recovery. And Manchester City have sent us a box shirt signed by Riyad Mahrez. So we've got that as the first prize. We've got this ball as the second prize, and that's signed by Paul Dickoff. And because Paul comes here quite a lot, and he's put on it 9408, so we all know what that was about. And the third prize is a Melbourne Blues cap and scarf set. So don't forget to buy the tickets and support Citizens Giving wherever you are in the world, because it's a fantastic cause, and I think that's one great thing about belonging to a club like City. They do a lot out in the community.
Steve,
so that's my plug for Citizens Giving.
Where do they go for that? And I'll put it in. Where do they go? And I'll put it in the comments. If they want to.
Okay, we've got if they have a look for the Melbourne Blues, we've got a Facebook page, and if they can contact me as well, I'll look after them on my Facebook page, and of course I've got an email address where they can contact me.
And that's for the raffle, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a raffle. Yeah, 3 prizes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And that will. We've already donated $600 to Citizens Giving. So my email address for anybody who'd like to send me an email, I'll spell it out. It's okeh1@bigpond.com. ok1@bigpond.com. Send me an email, buy some tickets, help Citizens Giving.
I'm just going to look. I have got it here. I am going to get it. Oh, bigpond.com. There you go.
Big Pond.
The Blues. Steve at Melbourne Blues. There you go. OK1@bigpond.com. And if you want Alan's phone number, I'll give you that later on.
Oh, you nasty piece of work.
That's the one. OK1@bigpond.com. Yep. And I'll send you the details of the raffle. Yeah. Which includes this fantastic ball from Paul Biggoff. What a legend! You know, one of the great things about being a City fan here is, of course, the Melbourne City contact. I'll give you an example. Ferran Soriano turned up one night. It was a 9 o'clock at night game to watch City. It was versus Chelsea a couple of seasons ago, and Ferran Soriano just walked in the Imperial. He knew that the City fans would be there. He bought us all a drink and he watched the game with us. How good was that? It was amazing. We have Brian Marwood frequently over in Australia, and he looks after us really well. Never heard of him. Well, he's a good mate of Alan's. He's a good mate of Alan's.
No idea about that.
Well, let me say this. Alan thinks he's a good mate of Brian's. I'm not sure if it works the other way. Yeah, so Brian comes over. We had Raheem Sterling come to the Imperial. In fact, that was when he just joined the club, and the first thing they did was send him to Australia. So
I think I'm going over. You get to meet the players over there.
Yeah, we actually do. Yeah, we had Micah Richardson, of course, come with the trophy and brought all the 4 trophies season. So that was fantastic. What a great bloke Micah is. You know, really friendly and just one of the boys. And we're really blessed, you know, to have that.
Hang on, Alan, come back. Don't you dare, Martin.
And there's Alan. Don't.
Thank you for the super chat, but your phone number is going out, mate. Anyway, I'm only joking. Steve, before we go, I want to ask you one more question.
Yep.
With COVID and everything that's going on around the world, what is the future for supporters branch? What are the future for all these fan branches around the world? So, such as yourself, you've got the Melbourne branch. Obviously, you can't get to games. There's now a thing coming out where you're going to have to put your name on a season ticket to get in.
Yeah.
What is the future of branches around the world with all these changes?
That is going to get certainly very awkward. We have always had here 2 season cards, and any of our members going to Manchester or you know, could borrow the card and then go and watch the games. And you know, believe me, we had a lot of people use those cards. Of course, we also are able sometimes to get tickets for away games as well as home games via the supporters club, and that may still be an option. But certainly using the season cards, that's an option that's gone. So that's really disappointing. Look, I'm critical of City in that regard because I don't think they handled that as well as they could have either. Now, of course, they've made some changes and you know, people can postpone their season card for a year, like Alan. I'm looking at my season card; it's pinned up here on the wall, and they're all going to be useless, really. So that's bad. But on the upside of the equation, of course, we will still all be able to get together and as supporters club and watch the games. That won't make any difference, but it's going to be disappointing. Not to be able to have season cards. I'll tell you the other thing that. I'll tell you another thing that's very disappointing, and I don't know if other supporter club branches around the world have had this problem, but to join a supporter club branch now, the new system is you actually have to be a citizen. So you have to be registered with Manchester City, you have to have a supporter club number, and only then can you decide which branch you want to be part of. So, okay, that's okay, and that's working well, and I guess Manchester City want to take ownership of their fans around the world. But the downside is that they've made it very awkward for junior blues under 13 years of age to actually become a citizen because they don't usually have an email address, and unless you're over 13 with an email address, you can't get a citizen's account, and then of course you can't join a supporters club. Now we've got about we're doing the renewals now. They finish at the end of this month, and we have about 35 junior blues in our club, and so far we've only had 7 of those renewed because the renewal process for the under 13s has been made so difficult. And we just got to be critical of City and say, guys, the junior blues are one of the most important assets that we'll ever have for our club. They're the future, more important than old guys like me. And City really do need to pull the finger out and make it easier for those junior blues to join supporters clubs.
Oh yeah.
So I hope you're watching that. That's my rant for the day.
I'll have a word with the Sheikh when we come off.
I'll get Alan to have a word with Brian. Okay. Alan can sort that out with Brian.
Don't you start with having a word with Brian. Alan's always having a word with Brian.
Well, Steve, thanks ever so much for coming and joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure. Still there?
Well, thank you. It has been fantastic, and I really have enjoyed it. Thanks for Alan and Alex for getting up so early. Thanks for everyone else for sending in the hot chats, and I hope you got good answers to your questions. And you're doing a great show, guys. It's fantastic. I noticed that your numbers are really building up nicely as well, and I look forward to being part of a future show. Yeah, I think you know that I did write the paper about financial fair play, fair or foul, and Andy did that with us. And I'm writing another paper at the moment, and it's called "What's Wrong with Football?" And I think that there's so much wrong with the game right now, and I do think that administrators are just not listening to supporters enough, and if we get a chance, I'd like to, talk about that in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have you back on, Steve, for that. Absolutely. Definitely. I'm going to say a big thank you to Steve Bardsley, who has got up again at 5:30 in the morning coming do this. Absolute superstar. Thank you so much, Steve.
I think we've got technical issues again.
We had to end with technical issues. We just had issues.
Oh, good, guys. Thank you so much.
You take care, Steve, and thanks for coming on. And hopefully we'll watch City have a comfortable victory tomorrow night.
And we'll all be...
Thanks for coming on, Steve. Give a wave to everyone, please.
And let's remember this. We never feel more like singing the blues when City win and United lose. So let's hope that we'll be singing that song tomorrow morning. Okay.
Spot on.
Let's hope so.
Much.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Cheers, mate.
And thank you, Blue Hat, for the £5. Very much appreciated.
Guys, a big round. Thank you, Steve. All I'm going to do is, guys, I will be back tomorrow night with the live watch-along. Manchester City kick off their season against Wolves. Come and join me at 7:45. I will be on air. We will also have a live reaction video after the live stream where I may bring on 1 or 2 guests for their live. And also make sure you get your fan cams in and send them to, I'm just going to do this. I'll put the email up, guys. There you go. The email is up, mcfcfantv@gmail.com for the fan cams tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. City kick-off against Wolves, live from Molineux, and I will join you from 7:45 tomorrow for a good 3 or 4 hours of fun. I want to say, again, thank you to Steve Bardsley. This has been Doom. There's the Ginger Prince, Gloom over there. Guys, thank you so much. You are all superstars. Sorry we've not got around to all your comments, but we want to focus on the guests as normal. But guys, next week, we've got another absolute cracker for you. Tune in. But I'll see you all tomorrow. From me, Doom, there's Gloom. Thank you to Steve Bardsley. Have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow. And as always,
up the Blues.
Sing that song.